Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning. Yes, again, the beautiful reminder of choice that we have. Remember, you get to choose what every moment in your life means, what everything means, what somebody says, what somebody does. Here, right now, where I am, it happens to be morning, and notice what I opened with. Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning. See, that's a choice. And you know, it's beautiful. No matter what you're going through, you can do that. You can shift that narrative, which will then shift the vibratory state in you, which is the attractive force in your life. And that's what we're hoping that you see. We're hoping that that's what you connect with. We hope that you see that what we're really wanting you to connect with is to not be emotionally connected to what's happening on the outside, to what's happening, to the results, to make that a determination for you, what you're going to do, but instead to operate from within and to lock into how you would love things to be and then connect with that. See, that's how you deliver your results. It's by connecting with those ideas that are in harmony with that. You can look at it this way, and you've heard me say this before. Will you be able to get what you would love if you're focusing from what you don't want? If you're operating that way, see, it doesn't work. Things are not brought into existence by thinking of their opposites. You have to be brave, you have to be courageous to think and hold how you would love things to be when the appearance says something to the contrary. Now, think about that. No matter what you're going through, no matter what the results are, as a matter of fact, by doing what I'm sharing with you, that's the hardest work you're going to ever do. We talked about that in the last book that we went through, The Science of Getting Rich, in chapter 4. Wallace Wattles pointed out how there is nothing that shrinks the minds of more men and women than that of sustained and consecutive thought. It is the hardest work in the world, especially when truth, how you would love things to be, is contrary to appearances. But when you do think that way, when you do hold the idea of how you would love things to be, regardless of what's happening, and operate in harmony with that, oh my gosh, you have power. You can get what you want. And that right there is something, again, that we want you to connect with. Never, ever allow the circumstances of your life to be the dictating force about what you're going to do, about what you're going to be connected with, about how you're going to think. If you do, you're going to deliver more of the same. So you're going to shut that shit down. All right. So, as a reminder here, following that, what I just shared with you, we do have an event happening on the 28th called Emergence. And we do want to remind you to register for that and to invite other people to come along because we're going to dive deep into a practical way to implement this and to use it so that you can deliver changes in your life. It is definitely life transforming. And it's something, again, that we hope that you lock into and register for. Now, what have we been studying? We've been studying Money is God in Action. And if you don't have a copy of that, print it out. By all means, do print it out. We provided the link to you in the chat below here. Click on it, download it, and use it. It's a really short, beautiful book. It's not that many pages, and it is really powerful. There's a lot of substance in it. And we'll be diving into that in just a moment. With that being said, though, the next book that we're going to be studying is from James Allen. It's As a Man Thinketh with Out from the Heart, two beautiful pieces of work that I love a lot, especially Out from the Heart. And if you don't have a copy of that, get that. We'll provide a link to you, which has a beautiful cover that we created. It is in a special edition that we did publish. And again, we do recommend that you get that right away while we're going through this beautiful masterpiece of Money is God in Action. All right, so you ready? Type in the comments, I'm ready if you're ready. I'm ready, and you know what? Let's do this, shall we? Let's get into this wonderful work. I'll go ahead and make the switch here. 1, 2, 3, boom. All right, so one of the things that we talked about in the last session was how all life is circulation. Let's all type that in the comments again. All life is circulation. See, there's a law, the perpetual transmutation of energy. Bob Proctor talked about this frequently. And with regards to that law, what he says is that, what he pointed out is that everything is in motion, it's moving in terms of, you know, how everything is. Things that you think are solid, they're not solid, they're constantly moving. With that being said, in this reference, in terms of the movement, he's emphasizing this circulation because he's emphasizing it as a gauge to help you to see what your health is. And what did he point out? He pointed out your heart in your body and how your heart pumps and circulates blood in your body. The cleaner and more fluid and more easily that the blood flows through your body reveals that you are in really good health. If it's not flowing very well, it means you're not in good health. Well, here he tied in to money as the same way. If money is not circulating well in your life, it's not because there's something bad about you or anything like that. It just means that there's some kind of blockage that's not moving it through your life. And what we got to do is we got to tap into that. And what's interesting here when he talked about this with regards to your body, in terms of your heart being that piece that beats and moves the information through you. I mean, I should say the blood through you. Your heart is your subconscious mind. Okay. Now think about that. And that's what determines what pumps through and what circulates in your life, no matter what it is. And that right there is an incredible analogy. It's such an amazing analogy. All right. So here he proceeds with, when I begin to fear lack, and that often happens, and how many of you fall into that? You fall asleep, and the next thing you know, there's worry and there's doubt. Okay, now all of a sudden you start thinking about, I can't afford it, it costs too much. You know the story, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're going to shut that shit down. But with that being said, it's something that happens in many people. Why? Because it's in the paradigm. Goes, but he goes on to say, I immediately begin to work on my own consciousness, not the question of how can I make more money, but with the question, what can I do? Well, I'm sorry, what do I need to do to have money circulating in my world? Now, let's all type that in the comments. What do I need to do to have money circulating in my world? Okay, very important. Because remember, if that blockage is there, it's not moving. Okay. It's not circulating in your world because there's a blockage there. Okay. Now, what do I do? What do I need to do to have more money circulating in my world? All right. Now, again, grab onto that question. That's a really great question. So, for prosperity is the circulation of money in my world. It is the movement, it is an activity, it is a flow. I have often defined prosperity as being a state wherein I am always able to do what I want to do at the instant of time that I want to do it. This is kind of cool because the language is very familiar to what Wallace Wattles shares. Now let's sit in that. Okay. For prosperity is the circulation of money in my world. It is movement, it is an activity, it is a flow. I have often defined prosperity as being a state wherein I am always able to do what I want to do at the instant of time that I want to do it. In other words, if all the people attending a metaphysical lecture had sufficient money in their pockets to place generous contribution in the offering plate, and they had sufficient money in their pockets to have transportation home, then at that instant they would be prosperous, despite what their bank account revealed, because they would have what they needed to have to do the thing they wanted to do at the instant they wanted to do it. Now, that's a beautiful, beautiful thought to immerse in. But now, before we move further, for those of you who are watching this live stream and would love to connect with the rest of this call and also with the recordings to dive deep into it the way we're diving deep into it, then do yourself a favor and go to Elevitality and register for Master Your Mind. You will thank yourself later. So now let's proceed. Let's